Hey everyone, my name is Sara Taylor, and I am the writer, producer, and star of Going Places, a coming-of-age short film about the guilt of wanting to make your hometown heroes proud, shooting this July in the Bay Area. Welcome to the second episode of the Going Places podcast. If you haven't gotten the chance to listen to our first episode with Ariel, please do. Today, we have a great conversation with my friend Marlee Mesarchik, who I will introduce in a moment. As of posting this on Saturday, May 16th, we are 4 days into our crowdfunding campaign, and we have raised $3,920, or 26% of our goal. I am so grateful for everyone's contributions so far, but in order to keep all of our pledges, we need to reach at least 80% in the next 25 days. So please take a look at our Seed and Spark linked everywhere for you, and if you are able, please follow the page and pledge or share with friends. Whatever you're able to do in this moment, I am grateful for. Moving on to our guest. Marlee Mesarchik is a musician and songwriter based on the east side of Los Angeles. Originally from the Bay Area, Marlee's natural acoustic sound is a reflection of the landscapes she grew up in and her early exposure to artists like Norah Jones, Shawn Colvin, and Jonatha Brooke. With a background in acting and writing, her songs are often character and story-driven, with vivid imagery and honesty. Her debut album, titled I Could Do Anything, produced by Tenorio and Jocie Adams, is set to be released later this year. Please enjoy our conversation. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to have Marlee here with us today. We're going to chat about music and acting and making art in general. For anyone who doesn't know you, do you want to just introduce yourself a little bit, chat about your journey, who you are?
Yeah. I'm Marlee Mesarchik. I'm friends with Sarah from college. We go way back. I went to school for acting with Sarah, moved out to LA. Now I've pivoted towards music. So I'm a musician. That's my main thing right now. Also, multidisciplinary, love writing and film photography and still taking acting classes and all that. But yeah, I'm claiming it. I'm a musician. It
Yeah, you
feels
are.
funny to put myself in a box like that, but that really is the art that
No, but
has.
it's also like a welcoming, I think, of all of the things. Like, you don't have to just be one thing, and you aren't just one thing. So claim it. I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. Also, I'm realizing in this moment that this is yours that I'm wearing.
Oh yeah. And you know what? That it was mine, and before it was mine, it was Pow's, who's our
Oh
other friend from
my
college
god!
who I grew up with. I'm pointing that way because her room's there. But
Wait, that's amazing.
yeah.
It just happened. That's kind of magical. Okay, great. You have an album that you recorded, which is so amazing and exciting, and we will chat about that shortly. But speaking of college, you brought up that we went to college together. When I first asked you to do this, we ended up chatting a little bit about our younger selves and
Mhm.
dreams shifting. And the short film that I wrote called Going Places is from the perspective of a girl who is just leaving her hometown, which
Yeah.
is like a time where there's all this hope and like big dreams and a little bit of doubt in many
Mhm.
cases. So I think my question for you is, how do you feel like the version of you that left your hometown is different from who you are now?
I don't know if you know this, but I literally just got back from a weekend in my hometown at my high school.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so this is all really fresh too. Um, because I was just there. My theater teacher from high school reached out and was like, "Hey, we're doing this alumni performance. Do you want to come sing?" I sang for like 2 minutes in like a group of people, so it wasn't like my shining moment, like my big return to the stage or anything. But it was just really interesting being back in that space that brought me up and seeing all my old teachers. A lot of them still work there, even though it's been 9 years, which is also insane. But yeah, interesting talking to them because they all knew me as this very actor forward person and knew that I was going to school for theater. I can't say whether or not they actually like believed I was gonna make it, like I don't know what they thought of me as an actor at that age. I don't know if they were like, she's going places, or if they were like, okay. I have no idea. But
Yeah.
still, that's how they knew me. And to return and them being like, what are you doing in LA? And my answer, I really had to step into that confidence because the reality is my job right now is that I'm a nanny, but I work for a family in the music industry who helped me make this album. And it was a good reminder for myself because I have music that's out, but it's all under my old artist project, which is College Athlete, if you want to check that out. But yeah, it was really interesting to be like, to step into that and say, well, I actually just recorded my first album. And yeah, I'm just at a really interesting place right now where I can't show it to them yet. So they just have to trust that it's a good and professional thing that I'm stepping into.
Yeah.
Um, it's also not how they knew me. I was not, I mean, I was always writing music and playing instruments at that school too, but I wasn't like musician first. And so they had to really be like, "Oh my God, wow, that's what happened to you in your 20s. Interesting. That's the path that you took."
I like what you said about like talking about stepping into your power because I
Mhm.
think I've felt similarly when I've gone home since living here of like when people are like, "What are you doing in LA? How's LA?" and I don't have something like tangible to show them, that
Mhm.
kind of makes me feel like a failure sometimes, rather than thinking about all of the things that I have been doing. Like I have been doing a lot, but I think
Mhm.
it's easy to then like look at how they'll react and want to say the thing that will make them react in a positive way. And I
Totally.
think it's hard when being an artist to like you were saying, like kind of prove yourself. Like you can't
Mhm.
show the proof necessarily, but it doesn't mean
Yeah,
that you're not doing the work. It's just they're not seeing it, you know?
exactly. Yeah, it's not like you're not doing the work, and it's also and like we were saying earlier, the work sometimes just shifts. Like all my artistic work went into this album, but that was a huge dream shift for me. My old dreams used to be Broadway, TV, movies, all that. I'd still love to do all that.
Of
Like that,
course.
that dream hasn't died, but it just hasn't
But
been
the
my main
focus has
focus.
shifted.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
even coming back to my high school and seeing all these people that I haven't seen for like 10 years and presenting them with like this big accomplishment that I just did in the past year, that even felt like a failure because I'm like, well, I didn't succeed at the thing that I told you all that I was gonna
Huh.
do with my
Yeah.
life.
Which is
Which is
wild because I hear
yeah.
that and I'm like my first, it's why I said what I just said. Like, I was like, oh, that's such a cool thing to have to go back and be like, I just recorded an album. But it's so funny. I think, I mean, we're all our own harshest critic, right? It's easy to be like, well, that's not enough.
Yep.
But what
I
is
know.
enough, you know?
Totally. Yeah. But it also was funny being like, I recorded an album. It's good. I promise. Just wait. Wait, guys. It's coming.
You'll
It's
hear
really
it.
good. Yeah. Believe
And
me.
it is.
Thank you. I am genuinely proud of it, which is also really cool
Yeah.
because I think that's another piece that I've really struggled with since moving to LA and shifting my dreams is how do I authentically represent myself. And
Mm,
part of that was realizing acting just didn't feel, or at least not in the way that I imagined it. It didn't feel as authentic to me anymore. It wasn't flowing out of me the way that music does.
totally.
And I've also, yeah, been making music for a long time, and a lot of it just didn't really feel like me. And so that's probably also why I used to release music under a name that wasn't my name. It's been a journey to finding myself in my art. I don't think that music is like the be all end all of what I am as an artist, but I did notice I used to really write music to like I not impress other people, but when I would bring it to other people, I'd be like, I wrote this song. What do you think of it? in a kind of insecure way, or just trying to write music that would please other people.
Yeah.
And with this album, these were all songs that I I had just gone through a big breakup and I was living alone for the first time. But I stopped asking people's opinions, you know? It was like me at my piano or with my guitar just writing a song for me and being like, I don't care if it's not traditional song structure or if it's not like gonna be on the radio. Like I just didn't care about any of it. I was like just doing it to process my breakup and because I was like bored living alone. That's how I created an album I'm proud of because I
I
wasn't trying
love
to do
that.
it. Yeah.
Totally, totally. No, I think that's so important and key to making art is, and it comes and goes in waves too, right? But like everybody goes through the, I need people to like it. I'm making this for people to
Mhm.
like it. But yeah, I think being able to just make the art that you want to make and
Yeah.
not worry about what people are going to say about it, I think is so important.
Part of like it's hard because part of being an artist is you want people to like your art because on a very shallow level you need and want funding,
Of
right?
course.
So like if you're shopping your album to labels, it's like, well, they have to like it. And
Right.
if you're trying to get your film into festivals, well, people have to like it. I think that confidence too of being like, well, I like it, sort of it puts that spark in other people to like it as well because they just like your confidence. Um,
Totally.
it's also just so much more enjoyable to make art when you're coming from that perspective. I also just realized it reminded me of something in your film. Frankie hears her mentor talking poorly behind her back about her work. And that is always so terrifying as an artist to think that people are speaking poorly of your work behind your back, especially if they've spoken highly of it to your face. So that's scary. But I think what's equally scary as finding out someone doesn't believe in you is people believing in you.
Totally.
Because then you're like, okay, now I can't let them down.
Yeah.
Really focusing on yourself is a way to sort of let go of both of those factors.
Yeah, that's such I I love that. That's such a great point. It's like the double-edged sword of like people
Mhm.
either don't believe in you or they believe in you, and those are both so scary. I think
Yeah.
this whole process so far of like deciding to make this short film, I keep being like, okay, well now I'm too far in. I can't go back. I'm too
Yeah.
far in. I can't go back. And
Mhm.
it's just like taking every step
Yeah.
of like, okay, people are involved with this now. There are other people involved. It's not just this
Yeah.
thing that I wrote about
Mhm.
myself, you know. Part of why I wrote this is because I was feeling all of these like scary things to me, and I wanted to be able to talk about the scary parts. Like I think a lot of times we're so focused on like trying to look good and staying positive and actively
Mhm.
trying to be proud of where we're at that we're
Yeah.
not willing to talk about the discomfort of like not being where you want or where you hoped you'd be by like a certain age. Like we don't talk about that
Mhm.
enough. And
Mhm.
so I think it's important to acknowledge like both where we came from and like our younger selves and then
Yeah.
where we're at now because
Yeah.
like life is always going to turn out different than you expected it to, but that's not a bad thing. Because, like you
Mhm.
said earlier, like you find new dreams, dreams shift.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you didn't think that you would have made this album a few
No.
years ago, right? I didn't think I would make this short film a few years ago. And, like, as scary as it is to be shifting in ways, it's also so cool. Like, I always remind myself that it's such a privilege to be able to dream like how lucky are we to be able to be like, I want to focus on my dream.
Yeah.
And like, as scary as it is, it's also so cool because so many people don't have that luxury in life. And so to be able to like do any of this is so cool and exciting. And I think that's like what our both of our younger selves would be so proud of. Like the fact that we're chasing anything, that's cool. Regardless of where we end up, you know?
Well, and I have to keep reminding myself of that too, because I think you and I were both lucky in that we both grew up with parents who encouraged us to be artists, which is just such a privilege. And I feel so lucky that I have been given as many opportunities as I have to pursue my art. And also, I'm constantly frustrated by having to survive in LA and not being able to fully dive into my art. It can be both. Like, I was only able to make this album because people showed up and did favors for me.
Totally.
And my grandma helped me, like,
yeah.
fund.
Totally.
Let's just be real. I also funded it. She put a lot of funding into it. And that's the only reason, is because somebody took a chance on me. And I just have a lot of lovely people in the music community out here that were like, sure, I'll do this for half my rate, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that this album was made. But at the same time, the reason it's taken this long is because I moved to LA and had to get a survival job to pay my bills, and have never been in a place where I couldn't have that.
Yeah.
And that takes up a lot of my time, um, and a lot of my energy. And the reality is, now in this current economy, my survival job basically just pays for me to stay in LA.
And when gas is $7 a gallon.
Yeah, like, okay, well, it costs just to get to work now.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's, I think that's just been a constant struggle, but that also is, I don't want to say it's an excuse, because it is a very real thing that I know I deal with, I know a lot of our friends deal with, but I think I also could let that just, I'd be like, well, I just can't be an artist because I'm just like, I'm surviving, I'm not thriving.
Yeah.
Instead of asking for what I need, asking for those favors, asking for, the support from my grandma, like, that took so much out of me
Yeah.
to ask for what I needed to make my dreams come true. But in doing that, I realized that that's something I could have done this whole time. I could have leaned on my community way more than I had been. I can get into such survival mode out here.
Totally. And I really resonate with what you said about like kind of making it an excuse. I did the artist way a couple years ago, and I'm like, who hasn't at least tried the artist way once? And I think like
Stack of books.
yeah. I think the thing that resonated with me the most doing it was like, you're not just an artist when you're making your art. You're an artist every day, no matter what you're doing. And being able to incorporate like writing morning pages or whatever, like that counts as art. And if you're living your life as an artist and like claiming it, like you were talking about earlier, I think life becomes so much better because it's a little bit easier to find those pockets of time. Because if you're like, okay, I'm gonna make the time, then like how cool is that? I mean, you might be more tired, right? I think that's so cool.
No, it's
And
true.
I think like it's such a I remember right before graduating, I had a conversation with a few of my teachers because I had like decided to move to LA, and then I was unsure if I wanted to move to LA because I went through a breakup,
Mhm.
and I was talking to my teachers about it, and one of them, like the best advice that I got was one of them, he said, LA will always be there. New York will always be
Mhm.
there. Those
Yeah.
cities will always be there.
Yep.
Do what you need to do for yourself.
Mhm.
And if you're not diving in the way that like you think you're going to, that's okay.
Mhm.
Um, which I think is cool because like when I first moved to LA, I was like, I'm gonna take a break,
Mhm.
and I like didn't act. I wasn't really doing
Yeah.
anything artistically,
Yeah.
and I felt guilty about it for a while, but it also like allowed me to become a human. And I
Yeah.
think like one of the things that COVID did for me was realize that like who am I without the art that I'm doing? Like I think for a long
Totally.
time, particularly with theater, I was doing so much at once all the time, and I was
Mhm.
defining myself through those things. But it's kind of cool to then be able to take a step back and like figure out who you are and then make the art from that
Mhm. Yeah.
and be able to more intricately, like you were saying with your music and like this
Mhm.
album,
Yeah.
you're able to find yourself through it more easily. And I
Yeah.
think if we're not like pushing ourselves too hard all the time, then it's like quality over quantity, I think.
Totally. Yeah. I agree. I'm really glad that you and I did both take the time to do that. Um, because I think moving out here too, it can feel like there's such a rush to get started. I'm still learning to tell myself that there's no rush,
Yeah.
but it's what I keep hearing from everybody.
Yeah.
And it's true because I made my album at 27, and that's no less of an accomplishment if I had made it at 23. Still made it.
Totally. Totally.
Um,
I think we're also like inundated with people on social media who have been successful young. Like I remember being
mm,
19 and watching an Actors on Actors video. I think it
yeah.
was with Emma Stone and Timothy Chalamet.
Mhm.
And I remember turning to my friend and going, God, we're so old. Which is a crazy thing to say at 19. But I
Yeah.
think it's so easy when we are shown all these people who have gotten huge commercial success
Mhm.
from such a young age.
Mhm.
We forget that there are also people out there
Mhm.
who reach commercial success or their own version of success
Yeah.
later in life. And it's like never too late to
Yeah.
do any of these things. But I think it's so easy
Yeah.
to be like, and why am I not Emma Stone at this point in my
No,
life? Like,
totally. I can get that way on a very, like, intellectual level with music these days. I've been finding, like, if I see some young girl online writing songs with just for me, it's with lyrics. When I
mm,
someone with these just, like, beautifully poetic lyrics, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I wish I could write like that." And then I, like, realize they're 18 or something. And I'm
yeah,
like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, when I was 18, my lyrics were shit." So, I'm sure they weren't that bad, but, like, looking back, I've grown so much, and sometimes I feel like I see these really young people where they're just already at the level that it's taken me to get, like, till 28 to get to.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, it can be hard to not compare yourself in that way, and I just have to keep reminding myself that everybody's path is different and we all grow at different paces too. Also, I'm looking at this person from an outside perspective too, and they are probably just as down on themselves as I was at that age, you know?
yeah. Well, and I'm sure
Uh,
that people who are older than us look at us and they're like, and who are they to be like, and it's taking time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure
Uh-huh.
when we're 40, we're going to look back at
Yeah.
now and be like, oh God, they didn't even know.
Yeah,
They
it's
had
true.
so much time.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's like so silly. I think it's like, I think that it's kind of inescapable in a way. Like, we're going to be feeling this for a long time, I think.
Oh,
And that's
totally.
like just part of the journey is to deal with that and like
Yeah, for
part of
sure.
the magic of adulthood.
What's interesting about dreams shifting too, um, and looking back at it from an adult perspective is sometimes your dreams can really come back around as well. Sometimes it's an easy process and sometimes there's a lot of mourning involved as well. Um, like my boyfriend is debating right now going back to school for
Ooh.
physics,
Whoa.
which is crazy because he went to school for film and he like works in production right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, well, all the Artemis 2 stuff was just so inspiring to him. And he was like, yeah, I really wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid, but so did every kid. And I was like, yeah, but some more than others. Like, I'm sure the astronauts who just went to the moon also wanted to be
Totally.
astronauts
An
when they were
astronaut.
children. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it just happened for them. And he was like, yeah, okay, you're right. And now he's looking at college programs for it.
That's
So we'll
amazing.
see what happens there. But that also inspired me because part of the whole pandemic thing was I just, yeah, stage fright sort of like sucked some of the joy out of acting for me. And then my minor in college was in comedy writing, specifically like for TV. And I found such a love in that that I was like, okay, that's going to be my career actually. And all my teachers were like, well, you have to go live in LA if you're going to do that. But my entire life, my dream had been New York, New York, New York.
Yeah.
I was like, that's my only vision. I was like, I'm going to be on Broadway. That's where I'm going to get married and raise kids and all like I just envisioned my entire future being New York. And then I went to New York during the pandemic for like literally 2 days, but I was so overwhelmed, just so overwhelmed by the city. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try LA. I'm going to try the TV writing thing. And that's another dream for me that hasn't died. I'm still writing scripts, screenplays all the time, like plays, features, TV stuff, all of it. That's still a career I'm definitely interested in. So it's cool to kind of be like, yeah, I'm focusing on music right now, but I'm still open to a career shift into writing. Um,
Absolutely.
as Landon has been like, I think I want to go back to school for astrophysics. I realized the other day that there's a part of me that might still want to move to New York and do theater
Totally.
because I'm still grieving that piece of myself. And I know, I mean, you can probably roll your eyes at the fact that like I feel like twice a year I threaten to move to New York, and that's just always been the case.
No, but that's real though. That's very
Yeah,
real.
I'm like I'm getting out of here. I'm moving to New York. Um, so that's always a possibility. But I realized I was like, wait, he gets to follow his childhood dream. What if that childhood dream is still alive in me? And maybe that's worth exploring too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. That's so fun. Let's shift into talk about your album.
Okay.
Um, can you talk about the process of writing and then making it and how that came to be? I know you mentioned a little bit about it earlier, but
Yeah.
what was that journey?
Um, well, I broke up with my partner of 5 years, and a family I was nannying for at the time randomly moved to Texas and was like, do you want to live in our back house in LA and just sort of like take care of the property until we can sell the house? And I was like, okay, I guess I'm living alone. And my brother moved into like the main house on the property, so I wasn't like alone, but most of the time I was alone, which was just crazy to go from being with someone for 5 years and living with them so closely, and then just living alone.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just had a lot of time on my hands, and I also had a lot of freedom to just do whatever the hell I wanted. And so I bought a piano on Facebook Marketplace for $50 and I put it in my bedroom. And I spent a lot of that year that I lived there staying up till 1 a.m. writing songs. Some were really bad, and some I was like, yeah, no, that's a good one. And just yeah, compiling a list. I wasn't trying to make an album. I also wasn't really even trying to make a breakup album. It was more about like my growth as a person at that time. And then all the songs that we picked for it ended up, it really sounds like a breakup album, but it's fine. Um, anyway, yeah, so I spent that year doing that. I adopted two feral kittens, so it was just like me and my two feral cats and my guitar and my piano. And I just got a lot better at guitar and piano too, because that's something else I've always been really self-conscious about. And I always talk about this with Ariel, who I know you already interviewed for this. I'm always like, I just didn't go to school for music, so I'm not really a musician. And she's like, that makes absolutely no sense. You don't have to have gone to school for this to be something. But
Mm-mm.
anyway, so I did take the time to just like get better at my instruments, and I am still, that's always a process, and I want to get better and better. But yeah, it was just a lot of good time to just do that. And then I've been nannying for another family who a lot of my opportunities have come through the families I work for, which is like so cool and such
It's
a privilege.
it's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I just feel so lucky with how generous a lot of them have been. Um, but so I was working for this family. I met the mom before she even had a kid in a UCB class, and she texted me soon after I moved into my own place, and she was like, I had a baby. Do you want to come work for us? And I was like, oh my God, of course. And so I did. And then I was writing this album, blah, blah, blah. And they've always asked to listen to my music, like ever since I met them. And so I just kept showing them stuff. And I was gonna work on this album with my brother and with my roommate, Pow. But like, we all have survival jobs. It's all really hard. It just wasn't really coming together. None of us had time for it. And so I was just expressing this to the family I work for when they were asking how my music was coming. And they were like, can we make your album? And I was like, do you want to do that? Because again, I'm like, I'm not a musician. And they were like, no, yeah, we would actually absolutely love to do that. Please let us do that. And I was like, okay, yep. Because they are full-time musicians. So this is what they do. And we decided, well, Zach Tenorio and Jocie Adams, they have a band called Arc Iris with Ray Belli, who's their drummer. And all three of them were just like, yep, we are going to take on this project. And so Jocie and Zach produced it. And Zach's idea was he talked to some producer friends of his that produced projects that I am really inspired by, which is cool. And he just, learned how they made those albums, and a lot of it was recorded live. So Zach was like, all right, we're gonna record your album live. And our friend Aaron Stern, who has a studio at Blue Whale Records, it's called Capstone Audio. He offered us his recording studio for 3 days at a friend rate, which was just a blessing because again, I have music out under a different name, but there's nothing, I didn't have a huge calling card, you know? So it was just a lot of people. I'm so grateful to Jocie and Zach because it was them approaching their friends, being like, we have a project that we believe in. Will you trust us and work on this? And yeah, so Aaron offered us a studio. We went for 3 days. They brought their friend CJ on for guitar. I brought my friend Eli on to play guitar as well. Their friend Matthias played percussion. Again, yeah, Ray was on drums, Zach was on keys, and Jocie did additional guitar. And then later she helped me with harmonies, and she added just like gorgeous clarinet. She's an incredible clarinet player.
Oh my god, the clarinet sounds so good.
So beautifully with that.
I'm a sucker for a clarinet in music.
Me too.
Like, sign me up. It sounds so good.
I know. I feel so lucky too that like one of my producers just so happens to be like this brilliant clarinet player. And she was like, yeah, I'll just noodle all over it. And she did so well. And it was just such, honestly, the most freeing experience I've ever felt with my music. What was really interesting, I did not play a single instrument on this.
Whoa. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was a new experience for me because in the past it's been very like DIY bedroom pop kind of stuff. And so I'm like playing all over all my other music, but this, in order to play it live, they just wanted to have the band and then me in the vocal booth. That took a lot of letting go.
I bet.
Because that was a real loss of control. But I also, it didn't feel like a loss of control because I trusted them so much.
Yeah.
To create the sound that I wanted. And it was just like they were inside my brain. It was so cool. We talked a lot about inspiration and we rehearsed a few times, and it was just like I barely had to explain myself and they knew what I was going for and they were able to bring it to life, which was so, yeah, just so magical.
That's
I
really
was
cool.
buzzing those whole 3 days. It felt like summer camp, you know? It was a really fun.
Well, and it's funny you say that because I feel like that vibe kind of comes across, like in listening to it.
Really?
Like,
That's
I'm
good.
like, I need everybody to know the vibes of this album are immaculate. Like, you're gonna want to sit and listen. Like, I picture the best way to listen to this album is
Mhm.
like sitting in front of a fire or like with like a sunset lamp or something and like a warm beverage, like hot chocolate or
Yeah,
coffee or something.
good.
Like, it just feels so. And I wonder if part of it is because it was recorded live. Like, it just feels so
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
homey to me
Yeah.
in a really beautiful way.
And
And
a
I think
lot of
that's
it,
so cool.
thank you. I'm so glad that it gives off that vibe because that's honestly my dream vibe to give off with an album. Is something cozy that feels like a warm hug, you know? Because that's my favorite type of music is music that where you can hear the room and you can hear the community and the life in
Yeah.
it. And so that was what I wanted to make. And the other thing that's funny about this is in addition to being live, a lot of the songs, not every song, but a lot of the songs were done without a click. And so it's just
Wow.
like following Ray, the drummer.
Yeah.
Um, so cool. So a lot of it,
That's
it really
impressive.
has that natural feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my brother is mixing it currently, which is also, again, so lucky that my brother works in music and he's produced a lot of my older stuff and he wanted to mix my album, which was like such a blessing. But he's always commenting on that. He's like, yeah, it's a really interesting experience because there's just no click. Like it's just
Yeah.
you hanging out together and making music.
Just
Um,
vibes.
it brings like there's just a life that's breathed into this whole project that I could never have done on my own. And every musician on this album is just so skilled beyond anyone I've ever worked with. And I honestly don't think I could make something with another group of people. I think these are my people. I love them so much. It's an experience and a community that has really grounded me in LA too, which is another reason why, as I'm threatening to move to New York, I'm like, I can't now, because now I've finally found where I belong here. It really holds me, which I feel really lucky for. And I'm so excited to show people what we made, because as much as I'm proud of my writing of it, I'm so proud of Jocie and Zach's production and everyone's musicianship. Their neighbor Seth is on bass. He plays stand-up and bass guitar, and he's just like, I listen to the mixes that my brother sends me, and if Seth isn't turned up enough, I get really mad, because I just like, there are certain certain bass lines that he did that just literally like bring tears to my eyes. It's so good. So good. Anyway.
I'm so excited for people to hear it. Oh my God.
Me too. That's
so
that's
great.
the long-winded.
No, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. So you don't know when the first single is coming out, but you do know what it is.
I do. Mm-hmm.
It's called Culpability.
It's called Culpability. It's going to be coming out soon. I just don't have an exact date yet, but in the next month or so. Yes, called Culpability. It was one of the first songs I wrote, but it wasn't the first.
Okay.
But I did still. It just feels like such a good album opening. It is a lot about what we were talking about, these excuses that we make as artists. The main hook at the end of the chorus is I'm blaming everything on everyone else. And that's the lyric. Because it's true, I think I have a tendency to really give into those excuses and not push myself as hard as I should, or if I fail, to, even if it's something that wasn't my fault, just to still like look for reasons outside of myself as to why something didn't happen. Which is not a good habit. So I a lot of the time, like, processing these bad habits that I have, it's so helpful for me to do it via songwriting. One of my favorite lyrics in it is, I've done everything to reach my goal and covered every cost. And then the next lyric is, I wish that were true. I just lied to you. I haven't done much of anything.
I love that part.
Which is, it just speaks to, how we are always trying to spin things and make ourselves sound more accomplished than we are, which I think is also healthy. I think artists need to do that. I think you always need to speak yourself into the place you're trying to get to. Yeah, the reality is, at the time, like, I had just let opportunities pass me by. I hadn't really done everything to reach my goal. I hadn't covered every cost myself, because how could I? It's again, the whole survival job thing. It's hard. And yeah, the truth was, I hadn't done much of anything at the time, which I also I think that's also an okay thing to admit. Totally. It was a turning point for me. And then, yeah, it's also just about letting my last relationship fail and not wanting to accept any blame in that. Just realizing it's important to accept responsibility in order to push yourself forward, and not just look for how you can blame the world. Again, some of it is true. It's like, yeah, we graduated in a pandemic and then the film industry shut down. So how are we supposed to work in a film industry that doesn't exist, right?
Totally.
That is true. And it's also true that you can get creative and find a way, and you can ask for what you need and lean on your community, and we're never as stuck as we think we are.
Yeah. Multiple things can be true at once.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite lyrics in the song is, nothing like the weather changing to point out how you're not.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like that's so, again, it connects to everything we've been talking about. I think the pace of life used to be so fast, and like when you're in school, you're changing constantly at such a rapid pace. And when you're quite literally growing up and like getting taller and going through puberty, like
Yeah.
you're changing so fast. And I think what I didn't expect about adulthood was how slow it then feels like I'm changing, even though we're still changing, and we are still changing at a rapid rate. It's just not in the same way or structure that it
Yeah,
used to be growing up. I
totally.
think it's easy
Yeah.
to be like, oh God, it's already almost May. Like,
Huh?
what have I done? Or, I think, I don't know, I love that lyric because
Thank you.
it's so easy to be like, well, okay, it's a new season and I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing.
Well, I've found like, well, first of all, I mean, you and I both grew up in California, but in the Bay where there are seasons. They're not
Right.
as stark as New England, but they're there. And then we went to school in New England. We got to experience the real seasons.
Yeah.
And then moving to LA, there's like, honestly, I mean, there is winter. We do get winter, but it's sometimes when I look
It's
back at,
different.
yeah, I'm like, what time of year was that? I literally don't remember.
Yeah.
But I've found that it's actually been it can make life here feel sort of stagnant. However, it's a really good signal to myself. As soon as I'm feeling stagnant in something, it's a really good signal and a motivator to be like, okay, time for a change. Let me actually, put my big girl pants on and get some shit done. Which is, I think, when I wrote this album, I was really at that turning point too. The weather was changing. I mean, yeah, I moved to LA and then it just felt like my life was sort of living me instead of me living my life. It was really interesting. Everything felt really stagnant. Yeah, I started getting that itch, like something needed to change. And then when those things did change, I still was feeling that itch and I still wasn't feeling like I was going through these changes, but I hadn't changed yet.
Mm,
I think those things take time too. It's not like it's going to happen overnight.
yes.
Uh, but it's important to listen to those signals when they arise and follow your gut and not just sit in the wishing of it. Just to really take action, I'm sure that that's how it felt with finally writing your short film.
Yeah.
I know you've been
Yeah.
thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so it's just sometimes you just have to move forward into that blurriness that,
Yeah.
there's been a hard thing for me too is when I'm feeling like, oh my God, I'm so stagnant, like the years are going by, I'm not doing anything. It's because taking a step forward, like, I don't know, I could be stepping off a cliff. It's so hard to see what's in front of
Yeah.
you, but you just have to do it and risk falling. And I'm just really proud that I was able to do that this past year and that you're able to do it right now with this project.
Look at us go.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
cool.
I think to that point, when I finally wrote it, because I'd been thinking about it for like 2 years. I think it's
Mhm.
been now almost like 3 years since I was first like, okay, I want to write something about this. But I think
Mhm.
also when that was happening, I was still like in the throes of it.
Yeah.
And so I would like sit down and word vomit to Peyton and be like, these are all the things that I'm feeling. These are all the things that I'm feeling. And I remember
Mhm.
he came up with like a couple of different plot points or like plot structures. I was like,
Yeah.
no, that's not it. That's not it. I was like, that's a good idea, but that's not
Yeah.
what this is.
Right.
And when it like all finally clicked last
Mhm.
fall, I was
Mhm.
like, the fact that it had been in my oh my God, I can't speak, consciousness for 2 years, I fully believe that's how I finally got to it.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't have come up with that idea if I had just decided last year to write it.
Yep.
And so I think that's also part of the magic
Some
of
things really need to
letting
marinate.
things simmer. Yes, totally. They take
Totally.
time.
Oh my God, yeah. No, I mean, I it's so crazy to say, but in a lot of ways I'm really grateful that a lot of my creative projects before this one haven't worked out. That sounds insane, but it's because this one was meant to,
Yeah.
you know? And it had to take the time that it did. I had to be the person I am now in order to make it. Yeah, I think things happen in their right timing.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
trust the journey. One more thing about the song. I think this was one of the songs that you played for me
Uh-huh.
sitting on your couch right after you had recorded the album. And
Probably.
I remember hearing this and being like, I can totally hear the Madison Cunningham
Oh.
influence in like the music itself. Um,
Totally.
for both this song and the album, who do you feel like and also in general, who do you feel like
Yeah.
your biggest writing influences and music influences have been for you?
That's a really good question. Yeah, Madison Cunningham is someone who, when I heard her music a few years ago, I was like, oh my God. Well, I was like, oh my God, she's brilliant and amazing. And also, I don't think this isn't self deprecating, but I think the reality is I will never be as in tune or musically gifted as she is. She's so talented. But I also heard her music and I was like, oh, there's a place for my music in this
Mm,
world. Well, and I've heard a couple other artists say similar things about her music. I think I was struggling so much with the things that I was writing and finding a place for it because I don't feel like it's not pop and it's not just pure folk. It's not really rock. Like it was hard to fit my music into a genre. And then hearing her music, I was like, "Oh, this is the little file folder that I sort of fit into a little bit."
yeah.
Um like I think we do sound pretty different, but even so, I mean, I'm honored that you can hear that in it. But definitely her music has inspired me to just follow my own intuition, I guess.
Mm,
Um, that's been something that's really helpful. Also on a feminist level, I saw her play a show for the first time, I don't know, 2, 3 years ago now. I'd heard and known that she was a guitarist and that she was talented, like word on the street. She's amazing. But seeing her up on that stage, just like absolutely shredding, was just so inspirational. I don't know why. I think there had always been this mental block for me of like,
mm,
yeah, I can get really good at guitar, but like I'm always gonna need somebody else, probably a man, to play for me on my albums. Even though I'm
yeah.
friends with like beautiful, incredible female guitarists, it wasn't until I saw her play that it really clicked for me, to be
Yeah.
honest, the subconscious level that I was like, oh, no, this is power right here. And and I can actually be as incredible as I want to be. I don't think I'll ever have as many years of experience as she does, but I was like, oh, okay, like if I wanted to, I really could become this powerhouse even though I'm a woman, which is so insane that had been so embedded in me subconsciously. So she's just really important to me as a musician in that regard. She's just a very inspirational figure to me
I love
in that.
that.
Her power and her energy. In terms of the songwriting of the album, I actually, after my breakup, I was listening to a lot of Joni Mitchell, and
Mm,
I just love how not all of her songs follow traditional song structure. Um, and she'll just like switch keys randomly in the middle of a song, or just I was listening to a lot of artists like that who just don't follow the rules of songwriting, who play in alternate tunings and um, basically just do whatever they want. And so
yeah.
that was inspiration for me as well. Was just like, do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't need a chorus. Just like write the frickin' song.
Joni Mitchell, what an icon.
I know.
So as you've mentioned, not only are you a musician, but you're also an actor.
Mhm.
And you do so many other things. But how do you feel like music has, no pun intended, played a role for you in like your actor brain or vice versa?
Mm. I I have been taking an acting class for the past couple years. A lot of it is about building our toolboxes as actors and finding things that work for emotional preparation. And I don't know why I was surprised when I discovered this, but for me, music really helps. So, in emotionally preparing for a scene, it helps to find a song that moves me or reminds me of the character or the situation and just put my headphones in and close my eyes, and um, it helps me feel it in my body and it takes me out of my head a lot. So yeah, surprise, surprise, I'm moved by music. Um, in terms of how acting has influenced my music, I want to write like a musical or something. I want to blend the two. And I
Yeah.
also feel like Um, I wanna write a concept album too, that would be so cool. Just yeah, really blending the storytelling and creating a world. I think it's also given me it's funny because I was talking about my stage fright, but I do think that acting my whole life has prepared me for performing as a musician. Performing live music is something I definitely need more practice in as well, but I think I would be 10 times more scared if I didn't know how to step on stage and just be and feel authentically and roll with it. And also, I've done a lot of improv and just all of that acting, improv, all of it requires so much presence that is so important to be a musician and just following emotional impulse.
Yeah.
You
I love that. It's a perfect answer. Yeah, I feel like one of the reasons that I'm like doing this whole thing is because I have always been so moved by music, and music has been such a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And it's always something I feel like, especially when COVID hit and
Mhm.
moving here, I started going to way more concerts. Like I wasn't seeing as much theater. I used to like see theater all the time. And then
Mm.
that dwindled a little bit naturally
Mhm.
because there wasn't a ton of theater happening. But
Yeah.
I started going to more concerts
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh God, like this is so important and so just like integral to who I am as a person."
Yeah.
And there was a lot of music that helped me in writing this short. Like I've always been someone who like I make playlists for my characters when I'm acting and whatever. And I did a very similar thing when
Mhm.
writing this short film. I had
Yeah.
this playlist that I played all the time. I'd be driving somewhere, listening to the
Mhm.
playlist. I just like immersed myself in that world, and it's always helped me find wherever it is that I need to go with my art in such a cool way. And
Mhm.
like that's why I wanted to do this whole thing. I'm like being able to talk to people that I know and love and admire for their
Mhm.
music and as
Yeah.
people and as artists in general
Yeah.
is just so cool and so important to me because I'm like, I would be nothing in my art without music. And
Mm.
so I think it's so important to acknowledge that and talk about it. And it's also just a fun way to be able to have conversations with people too.
Well, it's something I've always appreciated about our friendship too, is I know if a song is particularly moving to me, I know I can send it to you and you will get it.
Totally.
Uh, yeah, I just feel like and you and I have gone to so many concerts together too,
It's
and it's
true.
been
Yeah.
it's good. I just love how we share that in our friendship.
And speaking of sharing music, as we move into this last little bit here, the reason that I asked you to bring a song
Mm.
is because my dad, when I first moved to LA, he used to send me a song every Saturday. And he'd call it Song for Saturday or Song for Sarah. And part of my short film, Going Places, contains a scene between the main character and her dad. It's like the emotional core of the story to me. Definitely based off of my dad. This is coming out on a Saturday. And so I've asked you to bring your song for Saturday.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
What is it?
My song for Saturday is, let me just pull it up so I have the lyrics. My song for Saturday is Speech Bubble by Flight.
I've never heard it.
Okay.
I love having a new song to me.
Okay, so this is from their album. It's their self-titled album, Flight by Flight. It's Flyte. They released this album in 2023. So it's been a song that's on my radar for a long time. And when you asked me to bring a song, you said, bring something that you've been listening to lately. And it's a song that came back around for me recently just because I saw them in concert a week ago. And they were here in LA. Usually I have one song that I'm just on repeat all the time, and I haven't had one of those lately. But I love that this album has come back around because I bought the vinyl at their show. It's just, I have such a soft spot for gentle love songs. I hope to write one like that someday. It's something I haven't written, something of that quality I haven't quite written yet. This song, it's about like giving yourself over to someone and encouraging them to give themselves over to you and just existing with and for each other. Every verse is like a metaphor. It starts off with, let me make it better, let me be square, let me be a good boy, let me be there. You can throw your sadness at me, I just want to make you happy, I just want to make you happy. And then the second verse is, let me be the pencil that holds up your hair, the dollar in the suitcase under the stairs, in the corner of a memory, somewhere only you can find me, somewhere only you can find me. So it's so sweet and so gentle.
Yeah.
But the lyric that I actually wanted to bring to you, because and honestly, this is not even my favorite song on the album. Like, there are others on this album that I've listened to way more, but this one, when I was at their show a week ago, the lyric, I don't know why. I was there with my boyfriend, and I don't know why well, I think I do know why. But this lyric hit me in a way that it just hasn't before. The lyric is, let me be the city that you're moving to. Maybe it's one good year, maybe it's two. It really struck me because, I mean, I'm in this relationship now that is just so lovely, and obviously it's something I would like to last. Like, I'm not going into this relationship being like, whatever, but it's something that has snuck up on me in an interesting way. And Landon and we were just having a very candid conversation in his kitchen a few months ago, because at the time we were thinking of moving in together, but we haven't even been together a year. So it was just like, it was a conversation. There were just circumstances in our life where, like, maybe circumstantially we might have had to move in together, and we were like, is it too soon? Can we make this work? What's going on? I was like, well, what if we break up? Like, just, we need to have that plan. And he was like, yeah, well, if we break up, that's part of life. And I will just, either way, I will have just been so grateful to know you. It will have been an experience that I look back on fondly. And, I look back on my other relationships fondly. And it's just all a part of life. Some things work out and some things don't. And I was listening to him say this, and all of a sudden I was crying. And I was like, whoa, I'm just realizing right now how much I don't want I don't want this to be a blip, you know?
Yeah.
I want you to be a part of my life for a long time, but I also completely understand if it is, you know? I completely understand if maybe it's one good year, maybe it's two,
That's
you
so
know?
beautiful.
Because it's true, like, you just have to hold on to what you have in the moment. I felt like, let me be the city that you're moving to. That's how I felt about LA. Like moving here, I was like, okay, I was like, maybe I'll try it for a year, maybe two, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that's the only way that you can go about life is just nothing is permanent, you know, in a comforting way.
Yeah.
So like I'm
Yeah.
too, and sometimes I really yearn for that like stability of like
Yeah.
things being the same for the next 15 years or whatever. But yeah, nothing is permanent and you can change your mind at any point. And who knows, maybe I'll move to New York for a year or two. And it also is very relevant to your film.
Oh, totally.
To a new city,
Definitely is.
crossing your fingers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just hoping for the best. I
Hmm.
love that.
Yeah.
I also have a song for Saturday,
Okay.
which is one of yours.
What?
Yes. Well, I wanted, in case Culpability isn't out yet, I was like, let me promote one of Marlee's previous things.
Okay, cool,
So,
sweet.
my song
I
for
love
Saturday is Something Sad by College
it.
Athlete.
Mhm.
And my lyric is, I'm not trying to be pensive, it's just coming out like that. I'm such a deep thinker, and sometimes I'll just like be awake at 3 a.m.
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, I just need to get everything out. And so I grab a journal and I just write, or I take my laptop, open a Google Doc, and I just type. And then
Yeah.
I will look back on it sometimes and I'm like, wow, I was so moody. Like, where did this come from? Like,
Yeah.
why do I think I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, who do I think I am? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that just connects to that lyric really
Mhm.
strongly for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I'd share that. So everyone should
Thank
go
you.
listen to that.
Actually, I will say that is one of the songs I am most proud of too, because I wrote that song about just yeah being in a really dark place, but that song then it helped pull me out of it too,
Yeah.
and that lyric as well. Just admitting like I'm not trying to be this way; it's just
Yeah.
happening. Like surrendering to it was
Yeah.
so imperative in that
Totally.
process. So
I love that.
sometimes you have to just surrender to the darkness.
Totally, totally. And I feel like that's something so cool in your music. Like you are so honest, I think, in a lot of
Mhm.
your songs, like
Thank
with where
you.
you're at emotionally. And that's part of what
Yeah.
makes them so easy to connect to, is that everybody's felt that way. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
like we were saying earlier, the scary things that it's hard to talk about and that we don't talk about as often.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that's why music and art in general is so important, because it's,
Mhm.
I think, an easier way to start those conversations and to get those emotions out and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
This was really lovely to just, yeah, get to talk about these things with you
this was
and
so fun.
connect our art in that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we love a little yap session.
Yeah.
Um, Cool. Well, if you're watching this or listening to this not long after it's come out, please go to the Going Places Seed and Spark, give it a follow, give it a share, look at the incentives, and if you're willing to give anything, I would be forever grateful. And then on Marlee's end, where can people follow you to find out more about your album and when
You-
Culpability will come out?
Yeah, that's a good question. You can follow my Instagram. That's probably where that's sort of my artist portfolio. It's at mar.lee_. You will be able to find my music soon on all streaming platforms under Marlee Mesarchik, Mesarchik. And if you want to listen to my older music projects, you can find that under College Athlete on all streaming platforms.
Yay! Okay, well, thanks for talking with me, Marlee. This was so much
Thank you
fun.
for having me, Sarah. I'm
Of
so excited
course!
about all of
Duh!
this. I hope I get to come to the Bay and help work on your film. I'm really excited.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you. Bye.